beg, just one second before Chioma, please, just 1 second. Utunze, the way you're losing and gaining respect for people, it's becoming alarming. Today, the way you lose and gain respect.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. I'll give it to you. That's a nice
Every
one.
week.
I work on that.
Okay, I remember last week he lost
I lost respect for Nimi. Now I begin to.
The way he loses, he changes. The way he loses and gains, just like he changed more than even his boxers. He just changing and gaining.
Okay. I'll stick to one. Nice one, Nimi. Thank you.
Thank you, Chioma. Go ahead.
What happened? Chelsea won.
Just haven't played yet. They're playing tomorrow.
Exactly, I know. Probably, maybe he has seen it in a dream and they won.
His joy is coming all the way from the kingdom, not London. That's where his joy is coming.
Don't even go there. Nimi, did you see Liverpool? Don't even go there.
This EPL is starting. Little time that I was thinking Houston Green Eagles would beat.
I know.
You can never say.
Transit TV, welcome back again to Ready Football Show. Our usual weekend roundup, but this week we are just looking at one game, the big game of the weekend. Arsenal traveling away to Newcastle. It was always going to be the big game of the weekend, and if you are not a football or soccer supporter, especially in the EPL, you don't know anything about football, and you hear VAR, you might be thinking that VAR is a human being. The way this dude shows up every weekend now in EPL, becoming a recurring decimal. They used to say when we were in elementary school, solving mathematics. This weekend, VAR, did what he does best and showed up in a big game again. Yes, there is that to talk about, but there are also so many other things to talk about, especially the technicalities about that game. It was a very, very evenly poised game. Fantastic football game to watch. The two teams gave it their all. It was a fiasco between two teams. The physical approach to the game by both teams. If you are a neutral, it was a very, very interesting and exciting game to watch, which promised to be so even before the game started. And it didn't fail to give the spectators just that. And unfortunately, the game was decided by somebody who does not know how to kick football, who doesn't kick football. But somehow he manages to always these days determine the result or outcome of games. We are here today to talk about that game. I have Nimi smiling, beaming with a smile. This one is very, very exciting to him, even though he's on his way to Austin, a nearby city from Houston, Texas. He has, in fact, he was the first one to join on the show today. The usual Musketeers, Chioma is here, Ugu, my man is here. We're here to talk about that game. There are so many talking points on that, but we'll try and do justice to the ones that we can. And while we look forward to our viewers, come up with your own ideas or your own points on this issue that we're going to discuss today. Before we go, let's beg you again, our viewers, if you have not subscribed, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe now. Hit the like button and get busy in the comment section and let us know what you feel about this game. It was a big one, a massive one for the weekend, and it lived to be so. So, guys, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. As a matter of fact, I'm having some bread. Drinking on some Arsenal flooding.
Yeah. Chioma, you're welcome to the show. Yeah, we can see as ever you're shining and
Yeah.
bringing what you usually bring to the show. It's good to have you back
Yeah.
again.
Thank you so much, Reggie. You can see that I had to go freshen up my face and do some touch up so that my makeup is sparkling when I address the issues. I'm going to give Nimi PowerPoints. I need to give him reasons why that game was terrible
I
and why it
understand.
doesn't feel like a loss.
I understand. I'm really happy. I'm looking at Odunze. He's focused now. He's not smiling as before again. I told you guys before the last call, I'm tired of the smiles. So I'm happy right now. I see Reggie in Mount
I'm
Houston crying
serious.
out loud. Reggie is crying out loud, crying, and I can see the sorrow in his voice. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Ugum, you are welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, thank you, my brother. Very happy to be here. Happy to see Nimi's ever smiling face and the delectable Chioma. It's nice to be with you guys this afternoon. Let's have fun.
Yes. This game, of course, like I said earlier on, it always promised to be a tough one. Last season, we know what happened between these two games. For the last 2 seasons, it's been a very interesting game to watch. Newcastle has come of age since Eddie Howe took over, and the new, like many say, together they took over Newcastle. Newcastle has managed to build a very strong team. Before this game, both teams were missing important players, and this tells you how far both teams have come, recently. Because if you were a few years back, Arsenal missing 3-4 important players, or Newcastle on the other side, we always know that those we are usually used to be excused why they win or lose games like this. But this time around, nobody even talking about the players that we are missing. That tells you how far both teams have come. Arsenal was missing Thomas Partey, Gabriel Jesus, their captain, Odegaard, and the new signing during Timber. We are not available for this game. On the other hand, Newcastle are missing important players like
Isaac?
Isaac, and the defender, what's this guy's name?
Botman.
The Botman. Then 20 minutes into that game as well, Dambon
Tonali.
also
Tonali was missing.
Tonali was missing as well for Newcastle. So there are so many players that could have made this game.
Is he really missing?
Even more. Yeah, of course. In the beginning of the season, it was a key factor.
He's been excused. That's not a missing situation. He's been excused.
Yeah, but he didn't play. So for these important players not to be available for this game, and still we wanted to see the standard that we saw yesterday between the two teams, tells you how far they have gone in building strong squad. Newcastle, we know, just decimated the PSG a couple of weeks back, 3-0 in Champions League, and went away to AC Milan and came back with a 0-0 draw. And I think they're unbeaten in the league for the past 6 games. So it was always going to be a very interesting match. Arsenal, on the other hand, we are unbeaten in the league before this game yesterday. One thing that we all knew that was going to be present in this game was the competitiveness. Newcastle always goes into these games like this, especially against Arsenal, with mentality of staying in the game and fighting and contesting every draw, which was not absent in that game. So we're trying to look at that game today. There are so many talking points, from David Raya, the new choice keeper for Arteta, to the midfield battle. Jorginho had to start in the 6th position for Arsenal. We know he's not a very physical player. There are so many things to talk about, and we're going to get into that today. Let me start by asking you, what's your general thought about that game?
I thought the game was a good one. I enjoyed it. It was a typical strong competitive EPL game that I enjoyed watching. I was filled with when I say trepidation. I was pretty anxious ahead of the game against Newcastle because I know how Arsenal games against Newcastle run. Newcastle denied Arsenal a chance to top 4 2 seasons ago. And then last season, Arsenal fought really hard, and with the help of Odegaard, were able to beat Newcastle, there at their home last season, and then drew at the Emirates. So I knew what I was going to expect. I mean, it reminded me of the days that Arsenal used to play against the likes of Burnley, against the likes of Stoke.
But
It was those kind of games. And for me, usually, when Arsenal, prior to Mikel Arteta arriving, I was usually very concerned about those games because I knew what was going to happen. It was going to be about bullying. It was going to be about, playing rough. It was going to be about being physical against Arsenal because, like they people fancy saying that Arsenal don't have the backbone, cannot come up for physical battles. But since Mikel Arteta came and kind of restructured the squad, I think Arsenal have had guys that are able to stand up to the physical fight. My major concern then was, will the referees allow a fair game? Will they allow a fair game? You see, I don't have a problem with being physical. It's a normal thing. That's the EPL is the physical league, right? But what I do not stand, I cannot stand, and up to tomorrow, I cannot stand it is allowing a team use underhand tactics and get away with. I mean, yes, you can tackle, you can kick, you can do anything, but remember that actions should have consequences. When those consequences are not there, then it's a field game, right? You can just do whatever you like. And pretty much the only problem I had with that referee yesterday was that he let Newcastle do whatever they wanted, right? Yeah, this guy, what's his name? The Brazilian guy.
Bruno Guimaraes.
Bruno Guimaraes pretty much did what he wanted. Series of times, time after time after time, he anyway, I don't want to get it because it's very annoying. I don't want to relieve it. The fact that he hit someone that had control of the ball, he came from the back, hit the guy at the back of the head, Jorginho, and the referee ignored it. VAR actually reviewed it. That's what I don't understand. Reviewed it and thought it wasn't strong enough for a yellow card. They let it go. He did that over and over, got into fights, did all the stuff that he did how many times. And you know what? All those things passed. And then it got to the penalty incident. We all know what happened. Again, I'm at a point where whatever I see with EPL and VAR, especially Arsenal games, people can come and say anything they want to say about their teams. I don't watch all the games in the EPL. I'm not able to do that. But I watch all Arsenal games, right? So I don't begrudge any fan of any club saying what they want about their club, saying that they get their own fair share of whatever. But I think that Arsenal personally gets more than enough of their own fair share of terrible decisions, game-determining decisions, point-determining decisions that cost Arsenal points over and over and over. And these things don't get recorded. There was a manager that recorded some of these things and said something about it in the EPL. He's still being a meme till today. And that was Benitez.
Okay, Benitez.
Benitez. When he listed a catalog of stuff that happened against his club, I think. Was it Benitez or somebody? They still used him it became a butt of jokes. So, but the truth is that it's happening and it's happening. Let me not go on and on, but I was unhappy. Arsenal could have ended that game in a draw, and I would say fair enough. You fought hard, it ended in a 0-0 draw. It's all good, take it and go. But ending that game as a loss because of that decision leaves a sour taste in the mouth. Let me let somebody else talk.
Yeah, so let's not start with the referees. Generally, man of the referee or the VAR situations. Well, what's your overall thought about that game?
Well, don't say, well, take it easy. See, take it easy. Don't say, well, take it easy. It hurts. All the teams in the EPL, most teams have gone through one or two VAR situations. The only consistent thing about the VARs in EPL is I saw the goal that happened, and there were the push, especially on Gabriel, and also the ball. I do think that match could have ended in a goalless draw, but it's soccer, and I could see Udunze is a very respectable referee. For him crying like this, I know Arsenal is his team, but for him crying like this and sorrowful, I know it hurts. And as I said, we've gone through. Each of us have gone through the same thing with bad referee calls in the EPL. That's something that is really sad. Now going to the game, I have said something here. Arsenal, Newcastle coming in, we're going to bully Arsenal. Their game plan, when you play, you want to play physical. They want combative. Arsenal was discomforted. The players were touched. Notice somebody hit you. And I'm coming into the game. I remember 2 podcasts ago, I said the team to watch out for is Newcastle. Don't sleep on Newcastle. I don't know if you guys remember when I said that. Don't sleep on Newcastle. Newcastle is a team that is well oiled. And I see them, the way the EPL is going, Eddie Howe is cooking something. As you said, they just beat Manchester United 3-0. They are rocking. They are rolling. And I can tell you that that team is really, really good. Although it ended 1-0, I don't think it was a fair reflection of the game. I understand. And I think that going into the game, I feel there are some highlights of some points I wanted to make.
Yeah. We'll talk about
I stated something about David Raya. I said something about David Raya, the goalkeeper. I told you guys something, if you guys remember 2-3 episodes ago. Last episode, I talked about Nketiah consistency. You may say he didn't get services, but I watched that game, and there were some hallmarks of his game, hold up play and all of that stuff that I saw that I wasn't impressed. And we're going to come back to that, but those are some of the key points. Havertz had the best game in an Arsenal jersey for me yesterday. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I do.
The role that he played, where he played,
100%.
He had the best game. I saw something in Havertz that I saw when I was, looking at him when he was in Bayer Leverkusen. Some trademarks of that game, what he brought to that game. So maybe that is something that has shown Arteta something. But key element. But for Arsenal, I said something again last week. The dynamics of Arsenal winning games this season is quite different from last season. The flow, the tenacity of the game season, and I see that fluidity. Saka was missing in action. I don't know what has happened since the injury game. Sometimes with the Saka situation, and I think again, Newcastle came with a game plan. When you play at Tyneside, that's how the game is always going to be. It's always going to be physical. They're always going to try to punk you out. You talked about Guimarães, you talked about Longstaff, all those players, that's what they do. And again, it's a painful loss, but I'm happy Arsenal lost, and I'm happy about the result. Was it a well-deserved victory for Newcastle? No. It was a game that should have ended in a 0-0 draw, but as I said, it happens to every team. Arsenal should take heart and hold some cushion and hold some good cushion. I know, life continues. EPL, that's part of the EPL game.
Yeah, I hear you. If Nimi, fair enough. That was basically those points were very fair. Ugumi, you're raising your hand before I go to Chioma.
Yeah, so sorry, Chioma, I know you're gonna speak. Just to kind of respond a little bit, not to rebut. I thought Nimi spoke very well. What he said is everything on point, no doubt at all. I just wanted to give an example. You know, he mentioned that I'm a referee. Yes, I'm a referee, and I do a lot of games at grassroots level. You know, I was just thinking, one of the things I was thinking after this game was, you know, as Nimi will testify, when I'm calling a game that he's involved in, or a game that his team is playing, even at the grassroots level, when you see persistent fouling, not even just by a whole team, but by a single player, when the person does violent fouling first time, even from the first time, the opponent starts calling for yellow cards. You know, you're like, okay, that foul was too violent. You let it go. You know, if you're a referee at the grassroots level, it happens 2 times, and you don't issue a yellow, you are already under intense pressure by the
Losing
opposing.
control of the game, yeah.
You already, they take it that you're already losing control of the game, right? And then a person fouls 3 times. I mean, it's like, and so I'm saying, even at the grassroots level, you as a referee know that when a player, fouls so violently more than 2 times, the person should be walking a tightrope already, right? And so it happened. This guy did this thing over and over. He got a yellow card in the 60th or so minute after fouling, and then also to mention Saka. I guess we might come to it later, but Saka is now starting to suffer what they've done to him in the past 2-3 seasons in the EPL. Persistent kicking from the back, kicking his calves, kicking his ankle, kicking his knees over and over and over, and they hardly get punished. That young man, if they're not careful, they will stop his career before he actually actualizes it, because of the way he's being double teamed and kicked every game without people being penalized for it.
Yeah, let's not, we're going to talk about the VAR decision, the issues, but let's talk about the game, you know, it's how the game was played. And like I said earlier on, anybody that is a neutral that watched that game would have enjoyed himself yesterday, because he was a very top class performance by both teams. Arsenal on one side, I don't know, Chioma, if you agree with me, I saw a team that was very patient in their build-up. Arsenal tried to draw Newcastle out of their shape and try to hurt them. And Saliba yesterday was one of the best games I've seen him play for Arsenal, both in defending and the way he was on the ball. Jorginho on the other side surprised me, as though he lost some jewels, but he also surprised me the way he conducted himself in that game. Newcastle on the other side came with a very robust approach, combative, and at the same time, or trying to hit Arsenal as quickly as they can when they have the chances. Because Arsenal, of course, compressing the game to Newcastle have spaces behind them to run in, and Newcastle try to exploit those situations, though they were unsuccessful until the main talk of the game, happened. Chioma, so what was your overall thought about Arsenal and the Newcastle and how the game panned out?
Okay, so yesterday, for the first time, I guess I just tried to watch the game. I detached myself from, being an Arsenal fan, and I looked from the sidelines, and that game was rigged from the beginning. And the funny part of it is that I can't even express how I feel enough, because people are going to think that I'm crying wolf because of, the fact that I lost 3 points. Now, the loss yesterday, like in quotes, the loss, because that wasn't the loss. That was some human error. The system was rigged from the beginning. I settled down and I watched Arsenal play the game. If Nimi can remember, in the second half, because I liked listening to the commentators, we ran these guys down, okay? We actually taught them a bit of football. Second half. If I talk about possession now, someone will say in a possession where we won't chalk. Because Newcastle, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not beefing. They never ever had a game plan. All they just did, they were just playing police academy football. Boom, on top, boom, because all of them are tall. 6'6", 6'5". You throw the ball every time you are throwing ball over somebody's head. I kept shouting, put the ball on the ground. Let's play football. I understand that football is basic technicality and a bit of, physicality and everything. But people kept saying Newcastle came with a game plan. No, they did not come there with any game plan. All they came to do is just to knock people around, hit people's legs, and bully people. That's the word I'm using, and I'm going to use it loosely. That was a bullish game. They made it look really bad. The way Arsenal was set up the formation, I had no problems with it. Jorginho did well. Oh yes, he's not the midfield maestro, but at least he did something. And Rice, oh my days, was he Rice? He was perfect. But can someone explain to me why Bruno should actually have been in that game until the last minute? And I know Bruno as a player because I watch other Newcastle games. He has gotten away. If I don't go to Google, just go to YouTube and type Bruno, whatever, G, with period. His tackles and how many he can be very bullish. And he gets away with it every single time. And now we're talking about how Saka is going to disappear. Did you see how these people were? He said he's double man, triple. 3 men were on him at that wings. Look at this long staff that I thought he's even better self. He has even learned how to be a bully. Every player in Newcastle, the only thing they had, look at Joelinton. Instead of you to be a grown-up in that game, you were busy. Did you see what he was doing on the sidelines? Maybe nobody saw him, but I was looking at him. Was it the time they put... The only person that had the drug for Newcastle was Kai Havertz. He had what they needed. Because out of all their bullish ways, he knew how to make sure he catches all of them. And they got what they were looking for. Arsenal came actually to play football. We came to teach them football, but no, they wouldn't want to learn. They want to keep going, bing, 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 just like that. And speaking about grassroots football, I mean, I'm so sorry, but that game yesterday was so no disrespect to grassroots, because we see a lot of dramas play. I mean, I'm actually officiating a league for 18 weeks. That's about how many months? And the game I watched today just reminded me and made yesterday's game pain my heart so much. Is the fact that referees always have this culture of, no, if I bring out yellow cards, it's going to dampen the energy in the game. No, if you bring out yellow cards at the appropriate time, it's going to make sure that the teams are, I'm not saying they should walk on eggshells, but they know how to act. Because not bringing out enough yellow cards yesterday and not giving someone a red card, and that person is Bruno G, period, actually spoils everything for me. So that's how I feel. I didn't see anything wrong with Arsenal's formation. They were perfect. Everybody played their part. They just kicked the boys around. Every opportunity they got, they kicked the boys around. And someone would tell me, oh, that's physicality.
Yeah, yesterday watching that game, at a point I was like, is this Arsenal? Because anybody that has known Arsenal in the last decade, we know that yesterday would have been they would have disappeared. But yeah. I was watching the game, I was looking at how determined these guys were, and they were still able to play the game. They matched Newcastle physicality, and at the same time, play top quality football. I was proud to be an Arsenal fan yesterday. Yes, there are mistakes. Of course, football is a game of mistakes. There are going to be things we're going to talk about, which I'm going to get into now. But watching that game yesterday, I was proud of Mikel Arteta, and I was going to write something on Instagram that anybody that finished watching that game yesterday and you have watched Arsenal for the past decade and you still don't rate Mikel Arteta, then there's something more personal to it than him just managing the team. Because this young man has come and revolutionized the team. Arsenal now has all the ingredients that you need. For the fact that we finished playing this game, there's no talk about key players missing in the game. Odegaard was not there. Jesus was nobody is talking about that. What is being discussed is what happened on the field. tells you how far, how strongly this young man has come, his first managerial career, to build a team like this. So it is, unfortunately, it was ruined by somebody who does not kick football. So let's look at other things before we get into the nitty-gritty of that VAR decision. Some other factors that probably, Arteta has done well, but that doesn't mean he hasn't made mistakes or he doesn't make mistakes. And I am going to look at the position of the goalkeeper, David Raya. This topic has decided or refused to go away each time Arsenal steps out on the pitch. Many have said that Arteta is trying to fix something that did not break. Many have said that Arteta, yes, trying to create compositions in the team, has rather gone with a weaker option in David Raya against Ramsdale. And there is fear now that Ramsdale probably might be leaving the team as soon as not imagined. I mean, there was rumor 2 weeks ago that Chelsea was going to bid for him this January. So I don't know, Ugum, what's your take about Raya's performance yesterday? Were you impressed with his performance, and do you think Arteta needs to rethink that decision, at this moment?
I was very okay. I was impressed with his performance. For me, the only thing I would criticize about his performance in the game was coming to punch that thing that eventually resulted in a goal and missing the target. That's the only thing I would criticize. His distribution was good, actually quite good, both long and short. Decision making was also good, knowing when to ask the guys to go when they were being highly pressed up in our first third of the field. He knew when to say, "Hey guys, let's not pass out this time. Let's go long." And the way that he came for that cross and missed it, to try to punch it and missed it, and then it resulted in what they call the goal. That would be my only criticism of him as far as that game was concerned. Generally, I was thinking when we signed Raya, my opinion was that, okay, if the manager felt he was a more cooler option, a better passer of the ball, then fair enough. I've watched him. He's a better passer of the ball than Ramsdale. Not taking anything away from Ramsdale, who I think is a very good goalkeeper. Ramsdale tended to be rash, when under pressure. Raya has showed to be a cooler head when under pressure. On the average, I haven't had much to complain about in the manager's decision. I think it was a decision maybe that may have been avoidable, in the sense that it brought a different talking point to the team. With a manager that has been he's caused a bit of arguments with the Arsenal fans. Many want him. Many have said they don't like him for some reason or the other, because he's single-minded. So that bringing that an additional argument point in by bringing Raya, I thought was putting himself under even more pressure and scrutiny, considering that Ramsdale is a big fan favorite among Arsenal fans, But generally up till now, even after the game yesterday, I have no problem with that decision to bring in Raya. I think he's good, just like I'll have no problem if tomorrow he's dropped and Ramsdale is introduced. Both of them are sound goalkeepers. I don't see any major difference between them, if not for maybe a slightly better passing of the ball from Raya than Ramsdale. So that's where I stand on it. Anyhow it goes, I'm okay. I think that if any of them stays on to become Arsenal's number one long term, I'll be happy with it.
Let me touch base with you right quick. Let's assume you're you're a Newcastle fan. Watching that game yesterday, what do you think Newcastle really did to get a result out of that game? And what were you happy about in particular, minus the combativeness? Is there any technical ingredient that Newcastle brought into that game yesterday that I think that helped them, stand the pressure the attacking Arsenal attacking prowess and eventually getting a result in that game.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so let me piggyback and go back to real quick on what Udunze said about Raya and Ramsdale. Again, I'm not trying to say I'm going back. I stated this. I'm a goalie. And I think on this podcast, with all due respect to Udunze, to everybody, I should be an expert in this field. If you observe Raya and Ramsdale, the competition has not made any of them better. It has made them worse.
I agree on that one.
It has made, right now, you're bringing in number one, a superior goalkeeper per se. There should be no doubt by now. Arsenal fans are still split. Is it Raya? Is it Ramsdale? Because there's no significant uptake from or uplift from Raya to Ramsdale. Instead, in my view, there has been a detrimental low from Raya coming in. But what Arteta would do, Arteta is stubborn. He will stick with Raya. Even if Raya makes mistakes, because he doesn't want to say, you know what, I was wrong. I do understand his what he did in trying to bring out Raya, because he wanted the system of play that he wanted. Ramsdale wasn't the choice. But remember, when you play for Brentford and you play for Arsenal, the lights are bigger in Arsenal. Every little touch you make is a big issue. People look at it, people go back, they check it. I have looked at Raya, and 3 weeks ago to a month ago, I told you guys, I don't think it's an upgrade. I don't think that I can pinpoint 3-4 games that he has cost or he has had a hand in goals. That does not elicit confidence in the defenders. That cross that came in for that Newcastle goal, that was an easy play for a goalkeeper that had confidence. He could have handled that easily, timed that ball, and that would have been something. But I see that he just doesn't have confidence. And going back to your question, Reggie, apart from the combativeness, I think that Newcastle, again, they were solid. They came out solid. They came out the way that they were supposed to come out. They came out solid. There was a solid play. I know you talk about combativeness and physical nature of the game, but they had a game plan. Chioma, if you don't like it, go to court. Cry as much as you want, go to court, but they had a game plan. They came in there and they knew, I'm loving Eddie Howe. His tactical fluidity. He knew they couldn't stand Reggie. They knew that they couldn't stand Arsenal tip-toe to tip-toe. They couldn't stand Arsenal play by play. As Chioma said, yes, she was right. Arsenal played excellent, but they let you guys have the ball. Their game plan was a fast, get the ball, fast transition play. And if you saw how the goal came into, and that point I wanted to make up was, you guys are missing out something in all of your analysis. Chioma and Reggie, you're missing out on something. Reggie, you got to look at Mudunze, sorry. You got to look at Ben White. I have been watching Arsenal games. His lack of concentration and the lack of the way he goes to sleep a lot in games is costing Arsenal.
Even now that he has washed his hair, even now that he has washed his hair, you are still blaming him.
His lapse of even the goal that they scored. Watch the goal that they scored. If he had run, he had to be yelled at, say go, 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 before he went for that. But that shouldn't, as a professional, that shouldn't even come to play.
Sorry, you see that point you just made there? If you ask for those, I've been saying this about Ben White. The only thing about his game is
nobody has said it in the podcast. I've never heard that.
No, we're going to analyze that goal. His ability to close down wingers is my biggest worry about him. I've been saying it on this podcast, Ben White always gives wingers 2 steps from him, and you can't do that at this level. People like Tomiyasu, one of the reasons why Saliba is one of the best defenders in EPL today is he doesn't give you that space. He closes you down as quickly as the ball is given to you. But Ben White always stays and tries to figure out what you're trying to do. And I think that's a typical way most English defenders play football. They are scared of being dribbled past. Yeah, most English defenders, they play that way. They don't go.
But Reggie, even the game that Odunze, correct me if I'm wrong, even the game the local players that couldn't even make monkey post play that you referee, those teams, you don't tell a player the ball hasn't gone through. As a professor, to be yelled at, to like, what was he waiting for? Why is he there's always this lapse of concentration with him? Why? That is something that is, I think it's mental. There are psychological that Arsenal, as you said, Reggie, there's something that needs to be done with that. There needs to be addressed about that, because that goal shouldn't have happened if he was,
because when that ball was
alive.
played, I thought it was even going to be, I was surprised when, because I think my signal froze or something like that. The next thing I saw was it, because how did that happen? The space there was too much, to be honest, and I agree with you on that point. Ben White is an area of his game that he needs to improve on. Closing down players before they settle on the ball. He tends to give players time on the ball before, I know one-on-one defending, most times he wins his draws, but allowing a winger to, if you do that to a player like Martinelli, 3 times, one of the times he's going to get something out of you, and that was what happened with that goal, like you mentioned. I agree with you on that one. I really, really agree with you on that one. So let's talk about the goal and VAR. Chioma, somebody said something yesterday. The technology was brought in to help us, take out these mistakes in the game. Yesterday, the referees decided to go with the human angle and refused to use technology. So the question was that, then why VAR? Should we just go back to the human ability? Because the ball was, many think the ball was out. Technology was supposed to help us to figure out if it was out or not. If it was out or not. They said there was no conclusive evidence. So, which is the reason why technology was brought in, to help us with situations like that. There was a foul on Gabriel, supposedly, which maybe in real time, the referee might not catch. Technology is supposed to help you catch that. And they went over and over and over and again. They also said there was no conclusive evidence to say there was a foul or not. Ruling out technology. Then the offside on the goal scorer, there was still no conclusive evidence. So what's the reason? Why do we now have VAR? Or are these statements or grammar being used to justify errors? So what's your take about because I know VAR is not the problem, or it's the people that are administering it. And
we're calling it on VAR. Is VAR not a person or a group of persons?
Yeah.
But VAR is supposed to pick up angles and draw the lines, where they're necessary, and help us, zoom into past events and make them very current. So people are always going to be very political in their talks, Yes, so when we did not have VAR, things were going like this, and when we had VAR, this and this and this happened. This is what I think. Not because the funny part of it is that, let me rephrase that. Arsenal, we have been on this VAR wahala more than even Chelsea self. That is if they have even been on anything anyway. I'm sure VAR doesn't even care about it. Once he sees his Chelsea, to not work. We have always been on this VAR thing. When has it even ever favored us like that? Because some teams are saying, what people are saying, the fan base, they're going everybody go collect. It has touched this club. It's gotten to Arsenal stone. Why can't we handle it like big people or big boys and girls? But the truth of the matter is, in this case, VAR is doing more harm than good, especially this season. I think if you take a start, I can't remember, maybe that was last month, we have like 8 cases of VAR being, 8 cases.
Mhm.
And everybody has been screaming his name. He who his name starts with a H, with the last name S, he's become more popular than air and water. These things happen, they go do their review, he comes out with a very fat apology, and everything goes away. So for me, every time we always concentrate on this VAR issue, VAR is a league of former referees or big boys and all of that sitting behind the supposed camera, still calling this thing. See, that ball was out of play. That ball, no matter what they say, from today until tomorrow, that ball was out of play. I don't even want to start looking at the offside, because we wouldn't have even gotten to that offside situation if they had called that ball when it went out. They reviewed this thing 3 times, 3 good times, yet nothing came out of that review. Am I going to say let's cancel VAR? No, I don't want to cancel it. But should they have a total, they should go back to the drawing board, probably change the admin or do whatever, because sending that last referee to the championship as punishment would not cut it this time. It can't cut it. Something drastic needs to be done. If they need to reshuffle, I don't know what they have to do, but we have to check the VAR.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Being a referee, they said that they did not have the conclusive evidence to make the call otherwise. I know in refereeing, there are some laws, there are some situations they say, if the situation is like this, give me benefit of the doubt to defending team or to attacking team. In that situation, since they were unsure and there is case for both ways, who should they have given benefit of doubt to? Is it the defending team or the attacking team?
That doesn't come into play in this decision. What comes into play is what evidence do you have?
That's what I'm saying. Right? They claim there's
no
conclusive evidence to say the ball went out.
No, they can't claim there's no conclusive.
No, that's a statement. That's what I'm saying. That's what they said. So you now being a referee in that situation, who are they supposed to consider most? Is it the defending team or the attacking team? Because obviously what they're telling us is that, well, we just made a call, but we did not really have the evidence to make it go either way.
It depends on what's being discussed. In this case, whether defending or attacking wouldn't come in this case. If it's a case of an offside call, right? Mm-hmm. That's where you start talking about the defending team or attacking team, right? But what is under debate here is whether the ball crossed the line or not, whether there was a push or not. The push one was the one that drove me crazy. They said, yes, there was a push, but it was inconclusive whether the push was good, was a strong push enough.
Exactly.
I'm sorry to cut you. It's a show.
And 5 minutes later or 2 minutes later, Martinelli got fouled for, I don't even know if he barely touched the target.
How do you say that somebody that has 2 hands
on somebody's back in the 6-yard box, defending situation,
that you're not sure whether it's a strong push or not? I mean, hey.
Yeah, it was
you're
really,
not strong whether it's a strong push.
It was really a child's play. Well, I don't think we can say enough. There's so much to be talked about for that goal, the VAR, the way VAR was used, the call that they made. I mean, it's really. Let's move on to. I don't know if any of you listened to Arteta's rant and what you have made of it.
That was a rant.
I think so. Listening to him yesterday, I was somewhat happy. I don't know about you guys. For me, I was happy, not because I'm an Arsenal fan, but it got to a point where somebody, because this situation of everybody is scared of what the FA is going to do to the coach, they might ban you and stuff like that. So when you ask coaches about these situations in the past, they just try to particularly about a statement and just move on. But yesterday, I saw somebody that decided to say, you know what? I don't care what the consequences are going to be. I'm going to just say it the way it is and the way I feel. I saw somebody make statement with passion, with emotion, with assertiveness and boldness. And he just said it exactly the way he felt. So I don't know what you guys made about those rants. I was listening to one of the shows and somebody said that he counted that Teta used the word embarrassed within 3 minutes 6 times and used the other one 5 times. So he used very strong words in his post-game interview. And for me, not just for Arsenal, but for other teams, for the league, somebody at some point had to be strong on the officiating and damn the consequences and whatever they decide to do eventually after that, because it's now becoming, like I said, if you don't watch football, if you don't know much about football, by now you'll be thinking that VAR is either a player or a match official. Nini, what did you make, if Arteta were to be your manager after that game yesterday, listening to him, what did you make of his post-game interview?
Well, first of all, but just to put what Odunze said, I'll come back to that, but real quick, against Brighton, against Manchester United, there was a ball Rashford played the same thing,
identical, yes.
And they said it was
across the line.
Yeah.
They said it was they can't even, as you said, they didn't know if it was out or they didn't have any definite what do you call it, proof. So it just, again, as I said, the consistency and the inconsistency is the problem we're having in EPL. Arteta on his presser, I think it sounded like a man that was just frustrated, a man that had enough. He was tired. He was done, and it was really eye-opening. And he damned the consequences. He was like, whatever. He damned the consequences. And I would expect that as a manager, you need a manager that will come up the way Arteta came out yesterday, to say it the way it should be. And it's unfortunate, as Chioma said, what we're going to hear in the coming hours is going to be a fat, big apology. And say, oh, we are sorry, we apologize, just as they did Liverpool the other time, we apologize, and we're going to do better. But, 3 points is gone.
Exactly.
This draw in the long run could be the point Arsenal need to qualify for 4th or even do anything,
Needs. What's that one now?
So this point may even be necessary, and it is really, really important. And these refs are just for the sake of, man, I just don't understand how they did that. But I applaud Arteta. From a non-neutral fan, I want to see this every week with Arteta and him doing this. But I understand, for the sake of the sanctity of soccer, things like this need to be eroded out of the game, for real. VAR needs to step up and do what is right for soccer.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him as well, because at some point somebody needs to tell these people how it is, and we'll move on from it. So, let me ask. Okay, let me ask you, which as a Newcastle player yesterday were you mostly impressed with the way he played yesterday?
Yeah, please. I won't pass on the opportunity to comment about Arteta and his stuff.
Yeah.
Nimi very well said again. That's why one of the reasons why I enjoy listening to you and hearing your analysis. You know what you're talking about. I was proud, extremely proud of my manager. In fact, if I was an Arteta fan prior to yesterday's press conference, after that press conference, I'm now his fanatic.
Count me in.
It's now a cult. You're now a cult. You're part of the cult, Happy.
I'm now part of the cult. And please, don't come near me with any Arteta criticism, because I'm now a fanatic. I'm announcing it so everybody will hear. Yeah? The man, in fact, After hearing his press conference, me, I calmed down. I was very okay because he said everything I would have loved to say. He said it with the way I would have loved to say it, right? This is a man that has always said, there were one or two, in fact, the most important point he made in that press conference, beyond all the words he used, was that this league is tough. We are trying to look, mark his words.
Yeah.
Imagine a little.
How this man is able to express things even under that pressure, in that anger,
and the emotion.
Something I respect in that emotion. He said, we are trying to do something incredible here.
Yeah.
The man knew what he was saying. We're trying to do something incredible here. It would be incredible for Arteta to use the squad that he has at Arsenal presently. Yes, he has spent a lot of money, but it would be incredible to use the squad and win the league against Manchester City. This game came after Manchester City had beaten Bournemouth 6-1. 6-1, with Doku recording 4 assists and a goal.
Yeah.
A boy that they just bought in the summer, right? So you are up against a juggernaut that has gotten even better by buying quality players, adding quality players to what they had, right? We are doing this thing without Odegaard, that got injured in training, without Jesus. Remember
Thomas Partey.
Thank you. Without Thomas Partey, remember Nimi just talked about Nketiah not being adequate. Now we are counting on Nketiah to play week in, week out, midweek, end of week as our striker for the next few months. Now, against all these things, this man prepared his team to go to a place like Newcastle with the way that they play and there's crowd there, and they fought and fought and fought and dominated Newcastle. Newcastle had only one shot at goal. Only one shot at goal.
With their 6% possession.
Arsenal had 14 corners. Newcastle didn't have even one. His team played all that stuff, and somebody sat somewhere in front of a computer
and just made a decision that just ruined
decided the game. I mean, you can imagine. So the man had to use words that were strong, and thankfully, the club released a statement today saying, the first paragraph of that statement is, we are 100% behind our manager.
Yeah, and like you said, there's something that he said. Look at today. Liverpool drew 1-1 with Luton. They barely survived an upset. So that said it, that in this league, the margins are slim.
Very slim. Very slim.
Tough. So it's embarrassing. It's hard to take when you lose points for situations like this, because week in, week out, you go out there, is a war.
He said it, if my team is bad, I raise my hand and take responsibility.
Yeah,
but if my boys play, if my boys played at their hearts out.
In those conditions.
Anyways, let me answer the question you asked me. For Newcastle, I would, the person that really impressed me yesterday would be, thinking about it, I would say Nick Pope, their goalkeeper number 1. I thought his positioning was excellent.
And he was calm. He was very calm.
Very calm.
There was no.
I would say calm. He sends people to fight.
There was a shot that Martinelli played that would have troubled another keeper. If he was 2 steps away from that shot, it was a goal. He was at the right place, very calmly took that ball. Apart from him, another person I will mention would be Almiron. I thought Almiron played really well with pressing, and with playing quite cleanly, came to compete. The likes of Joe Linton and Guimaraes is supposed to be a good player, right? He completely ruined whatever respect I had for him because he was there just kicking people and trying to, be
for him, I wasn't surprised. If you remember, he was supposed to join Arsenal. Since he joined Newcastle, every time Arsenal is playing against Newcastle, he's
always a different animal. He's trying to do too much. You're a good player, just play the game. There's no need to do all that.
For me, one person that I would pick there was the defender. What's that guy's name? Is he Sa?
Livramento.
Sa or
Memento
something.
played well.
Yeah, you know,
Oh,
they had
Star.
a
Oh,
very
Shah.
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay, Star, Star.
Yeah,
Oh,
The Swiss guy.
yeah, he had a very good game yesterday. Chioma,
Mm.
let's talk about your man. I know Nimi mentioned it in rounding up. Kai Havertz. For me, yesterday, like Nimi said, was his best game in Arsenal jersey. Yeah, we have an Arsenal forum, and somebody was trying to talk about him yesterday, and I told them I beg to differ. For me, actually, this is Kai Havertz's best game in an Arsenal shirt. If you want to talk about people who underperform, then look at Martinelli and Saka. Don't go to Kai Havertz. You guys should not do this. What we used to do with Xhaka when he was here. Once Arsenal has a bad game, everybody just throws
they will say he's
cast stones on Xhaka. But for me, Kai Havertz had a very good game yesterday. He tried to win his area duels, and he wasn't scared in grand duels. Even with the yellow card, Arteta had faith in him, and he stayed on the pitch throughout the game and was still fighting till the end. I'm sure if we had a different striker, Ketia would have gotten something out of Kai Havertz performance yesterday, but he wasn't. So I don't know what your thoughts are. I know you are a huge Kai Havertz fan. What did you make about his performance?
I bet just one second before Chioma, please, just 1 second. Utunze, the way you're losing and gaining respect for people, it's becoming alarming. Today, you're the way you lose and gain respect.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. I'll give it to you. That's a nice
Every
one.
week,
I work on that.
Okay, I remember last week you
I
lost
I
a
love
game.
that for Nimi. Now, because
the way he loses, he changes. The way he loses and gains, it's just like he changed more than even his boxers. He just changing and gaining.
Okay. I'll stick to one. Nice one, Nimi. Thank you.
Thank you, Choma. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm supposed to gush about Kai Havertz anyway. It was not just about yesterday's game for me. I can't remember. I think some weeks ago, I can't remember the game we played, and I mentioned that his body language is changing. I can't remember if someone remembers
I've noticed
that.
it. I've observed it too. Yes.
I said it I think that was last month, one of our recordings. I said his body language is changing. And yesterday, when he shared yellow card to 3 Newcastle players. They actually are debating that should have gotten him out of the game.
No, there's
But
no
the commentator,
that tackle wasn't.
okay. But you know what the commentator said that sweetened my heart? He said, well, his body language saved him. There's this thoroughness about Kai Havertz that I like. I think I see that in Declan Rice too. They have a way of being a mess in a situation, but they make the most out of it. If Kai Havertz is running with football, you're like, this guy, Breeze will just blow past this guy and he will lose his ball. Kai Havertz is not the guy that you can get ball from his leg anyhow. I know Nimi knows this anyway, but he will not agree with me because it's Kai Havertz. You can't. If it means to hold ball, no matter the kind of impossible angle he is at, he's going to deliver that ball to its destination. So yesterday for me was not a shock. I wasn't even surprised because I'm seeing Kai Havertz through the eyes of Mikel Arteta. We can take this to the bank. There's something about Kai Havertz. And was he spectacular yesterday? Oh, I loved watching him. I loved watching the dragging, how he was dragging Newcastle players. And he was. Did you see how many times they pushed him? Did you see how many times they pushed him?
Yeah, and he never really,
exactly.
lost his emotion. Yeah.
He was smiling. He didn't fess up. That's the king. He didn't fess up. He didn't even act. Had he been, he was Shaka. You and I know, Reggie. Shaka. You will push Shaka like that. You can't try it. Nobody will get out of that, but it's the way he carries himself. He understands what he needs to do. He understands the assignments. That's all I can put it. And if we're speaking about a player I loved looking at during Newcastle game, in Newcastle, of course, I thought Murphy wasn't going to come anyway because I looked at their injury list and I saw Shah I hope I'm saying his name right, and then Murphy. I didn't even know, they were supposed to play the game. But this guy, who thanks to Chelsea, Nibs, can you hear me? Livramento, Abi, what's the name? Am I saying it right?
I can hear you, Livramento.
You remember that guy was you guys' boy, Abi?
And it's our boy. It's still our boy. It's his first love.
Calm down, Nibs. That's not the question, Nibs.
No, I know. You remember what they say about first love? You always return back to your first love.
No, that's not the conversation, Nimi. Calm down. That boy was from Chelsea, went to Southampton. See, I don't know if that was his debut game. At least we saw what happened with Burns, how he landed with his back and everything. And I figured it was the boy that was covering because he didn't come back the second half. I think they had to.
Yeah, the guy came in, they switched Kirin to the left side, and then the guy played the right side.
Exactly. And that boy, I kept looking, as in, he did not act like somebody that has not been doing this, even in his sleep. I didn't check his ratings anyway. I didn't have time because I was so angry. But if it was another game, I would have gone to check his rating. That guy is a jewel, and I have eyes for gold. He is perfect, really. And I'm not saying that Burns should stay out though, but like Newcastle shouldn't even shiver or something. I would have said Gordon anyway, but Gordon, by the way, is Gordon. We know what he can do, by the way. So, but that Liverpool guy is for me, yeah.
Yeah, in rounding up, there was something now that caught my thoughts yesterday. I don't know if you guys have observed this. I don't know which stations you watch. It looks sometimes like these commentators kind of call the game. Yeah, I've noticed that in the few games now. Like when that incident was happening yesterday, the commentator actually had said what the outcome was going to be before it was even announced. So there's so much that one needs to begin to think about in EPL now that I don't understand how these things are wrong, because there are sometimes you listen to commentators, you know that they are biased. Sometimes they bring commentators that have played in the home team to run commentary, and most times they show some kind of bias. And yesterday I saw one, all the commentator was saying leading to those decisions were eventually what was called. Nini, you are trying to say something.
Yeah, Reggie, you need to. I know this defeat really hurts you. You need to calm down, because right now, the commentators, anytime there's a replay, they say things. So right now, I know the thing is really hard, and I know it's easy. Acceptance has to come first for you to.
No. So sorry. To be honest, you see that game yesterday, it didn't pay me at all. First of all, like I said, when I was watching the game, I was impressed the way Arsenal handled their business. I was very, very impressed. Yes, I had resigned to a draw, that a worst come to worst, 0-0, everybody goes home. I wasn't impressed with Saka yesterday. I wasn't impressed with Martinelli. But overall, I was proud to be an Arsenal fan yesterday watching that game before that goal happened. And even when it happened, if you're an Arsenal fan now, you should live to expect stuff like this. These things no longer drive me crazy. And we have to talk about them because they happen. But emotionally, I am stable when things like this happen, because it's no longer news. Yeah. Once that incident happened, I knew because the reason why it took that long was they are trying to find a reason to uphold that goal. If they're going to cancel the goal, it didn't need to take that time. Once that dragged on, I knew they were looking for a way to uphold the goal. So when they finally made their call, it wasn't a big deal.
I agree with you, Reggie. With situations like this, for the fairness and the sanctity of the game, sometimes you don't need things like that to happen.
Yeah.
And it falls into questions, with you now questioning the call. We want a situation where, things like this don't happen. It took so long for them to get that final outcome. If you watch the German league, the Spanish league, even in the World Cup, it doesn't take this long. 30 seconds, at most 1 minute, is done.
And
They just
yeah,
quick.
somebody said that there are 30 cameras in that stadium focusing on the game. So how
Yeah,
come there was no one in
it
the
doesn't
angle that could give us a
doesn't take
definite
it doesn't take.
angle?
You watch German league, it doesn't. It just 1-2. Everybody don't agree. Yes, but when you watch EPL, I know conspiracy theorists will start coming out with this, and they don't cover themselves with glory. But for the sake of soccer, we are still hoping all of these things, your consents, your pain, your every feelings, all of it, we are hoping that it has nothing to do with it. But I'm going to quickly go to Kai Havertz. Chioma, welcome to Kai Havertz world. At Chelsea, we have dealt with it for 3-4 years. One good game that you love him, expect to see 5-6 games where he goes back to inconsistency.
I always love him. I always love him. That's the thing.
We are here. I will predict to you the next 4-5 games, you will not see that Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is like Willy Willy. He appears and he disappears for a long time. So be used to that. So we at Chelsea, we kindly made 65 million pounds, cool, sweet money. So be used to that. So right now, be happy with him. 5 games, I will still remind you, you will not see this performance from Kai. Very inconsistent player. So as going to the point that I made, I think EPL can do better. I give props to Arsenal. You guys played well. Arteta is grilling something in Arsenal. And,
he's cooking.
He's cooking, and we can see the grill. The aroma is smelling. But let's see how it will go. Let's see how it will go. And I'm happy this week. All I hear is, if I had a bucket, it would have been full of.
Please don't be too happy. You have Tottenham coming up tomorrow, so having this before Chelsea play. So I think you're being smart. You're just enjoying the food before it's served.
Reggie, if there's
I'm sure you're happy. I'm sure you're happy when this podcast was scheduled before your weekend.
Man, listen, Reggie. One thing I will tell you is this: I'm like a prophet. I will soon send you my prophet picture. I will open church and you come. I'll tell you things, and Uduze will never accept. But I'll tell you by tomorrow. When we have the next podcast, I will have a white wine.
Yeah, like you had against us now.
I saw your wine after us. We know how Sanchez called Arteta. Arteta spoke some
prophet. He saw you before it happened.
Yeah, I'm happy today. As I said, if I had a bucket, the tears from Udoze and Reggie, and Reggie's neutrality, even in the podcast, was out of the window. He was even crying more than the bereaved. But it's okay. It's all good. I'm happy.
Yeah, guys, our viewers, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to this channel, or if you have forgotten, please go ahead and hit the subscription button and let us know. There are very contentious points in this podcast today. Let's know what you think about them. I know the Chelsea fans out there watching this podcast, you guys can't wait to hit on the Arsenal fans. Then let's have it. If you can be neutral for once, let's know what you feel. Follow Nimi's footsteps and make objective observations to these issues. But if not, let's see what you have. Hit the like button and don't forget to stay tuned on this channel. We're still going to bring you more content. Like we said, going into this week is a Champions League week. As now, both English teams are going to continue their quest to qualify for the next stage of the competition. Arsenal is playing Newcastle, Man United and Man City are going to be in action this week. So we'll look at those games as well and look ahead in the EPL fixtures for next weekend. So stay tuned and continue to encourage us, and we appreciate what you do for you watching our content and subscribing to our channel. Hit the like button and share this content. Ugum, any roundup comments to our viewers?
Hello.
It was good.
Hello.
Good.
Yeah, we can hear you, Nimi.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Can you get me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I lost connection. Viewers, please tune in next week. I will definitely be with my wine, celebrating Chelsea and beating Tottenham. We will beat Tottenham. I can guarantee you that. Read my lips. Chelsea will beat Tottenham. Read my lips. And we'll beat Tottenham. I'll be celebrating next week with my champagne.
Ugum.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you. It was nice. I enjoyed the session with Chioma, Reggie, and Nini. Look forward to the next podcast that we will have. I also look forward to celebrating with Nimi next weekend because I actually want Chelsea to beat Tottenham. So you're welcome to win that game. If there's any game I want you to win, it's against Tottenham. So looking forward to it.
Chioma, good to have you on the show as usual, bringing the vibrance and the spice to the podcast. Giving Nimi what he needs to get, because he comes here every time with his prophet claims.
Yeah.
Somehow you manage to help us and our viewers to diffuse it as much as you can. It's good to have you on the show. And what's your parting words for our viewers today as we round up?
Okay. Shout out to Reggie. Names. That's your new name for me. Names. And thank you so much, Ugum, for always, being the light. And to our beloved viewers, please keep subscribing, share with your friends, your family all over the world. We're doing good here, and I'm hoping that tomorrow Nimi wins this game for his sake anyway, because I need to drink champagne.
Okay, guys, thanks for stopping by
hope.
today, and hope to see you again. Like you said, we're going to look at the Champions League for midweek, and of course, Tottenham against Chelsea coming up tomorrow. We'll probably have some minutes. Nimi, if you're available tomorrow, we'll probably look at that game. Maybe run the players rating immediately after the game.
I don't run, Reggie. I'm always on site.
Yeah, I'll hit you up tomorrow. We'll do small stuff on that after that game, because it's a very important game. The Tottenham has the potential of losing their unbeaten run to the season, and Chelsea has an opportunity to kickstart their season if there is any after that game. So, guys, well, thank you for stopping by, and good to see you, and happy to see you again. And for now, ciao for the Mexicans.